Alright, welcome back. This is like the second or third time I'm trying to record this video. The first time I screwed up, the second time it was going insanely long. I decided I want to make a video introducing myself a little bit more formally, talking about my history with Magic, how I got into the game, and how I got back into the game. Um, I started playing Magic around like ninth, 10th grade. I was 13, 14 years old. One of my best friends back in the day, and still to this day, very good friend, Sean, and a couple other neighborhood kids were playing around with the game a lot. Started playing Magic, and I would watch them and be like, "This is kind of stupid. It's a little kid's game, whatever. I'm too old for this shit." Even though I was like 14. But after watching them play this silly game for a bit, I was like, "That's kind of dope. All right, cool. Let me try this." So my buddy Sean sat me down, handed me a deck of cards that were probably a bunch of stupid green big ass creatures. Um, Avatar of Might comes to mind. Shit like that around Prophecy or whatever is when I started playing. So like Mercadian Mask block era, and I got really into it. We sucked. We didn't know the rules, but eventually we found a game store, and that we didn't know, these sort of things existed. Like, oh, there's a place where I could go and sit down with people I don't know and play this silly game. Sweet. So we started on the game store. It's called Ground Zero Games in Newport Richey, Florida. It is long since gone. It used to be owned by this salty old dude, Jack, who was kind of cool, and his son, who, his name was Will, who was kind of a dick. Um, but we went there. We'd play Friday Night Magic. We'd draft. We would kind of get our asses handed to us for a while until we kind of figured out the game better and were shown like big 8 drop 9/9s aren't awesome if you can't cast them. Spells and interaction and stuff like that is how you win the game and how you play the game and have fun if you want to play competitively. So we did that. Me and my good buddy Alex kind of joined our collections and focused a lot on the older stuff. Back in the day, we called it Type 1 or Type 1.5, which is now what you would call Vintage or Legacy. Um, I played an Oath of Druids control deck with Morphling as the main win condition. It was awesome. Force of Wills, mana drains, the whole nine. Oathing in a Morphling and just beating down your opponent with just an unkillable threat. That was the sort of Magic I liked to play back then. I don't like my opponent to resolve spells. I want to be the only one resolving spells and controlling the whole game. You can't do that stuff so much nowadays in standard and modern as much, whatever. They've nerfed blue cards. Green cards have become ridiculously good. Creatures have become really good. Spells have become less. I get it. I still like to try. But anyway, played the game for a long while. Then me and Alex decided we were too old for this shit. And in about my senior year in high school, or just after my senior year, we decided to sell our collection to a dude on the internet at this website. That was a buy sell trade sort of site for Magic in the early days of the internet. Anyway, it tells you that net decking didn't exist back in the day. Kind of full of shit. There were net decks and websites and articles that you could read. You just had to dig for them to find them, and had to be serious enough about the game to do so. Anyway, sold all our shit off. $1,300 cash. We're a couple of broke kids, 18 and 17 years old, working at like Domino's Pizza and Big Lots and shit like that. So we didn't have a ton of money, so it seemed awesome at the time. In the lot of stuff that we sold out, um, 2 sets of dual lands, a couple of play sets of Force of Wills, mana drains, all the good cards, except for the Power 9. We never invested in Power 9 because there's no reason to. People used to play Type 1 decks without the Power 9 in them because, it wasn't a huge competitive format except for a niche group of people who would play it, but nobody really invested in it, so it's like a Legacy Plus sort of format. You could play stuff that was banned in Legacy or in Type 1.5 in Type 1, didn't need power, could play cool decks or whatever. Um, So we had all of the good stuff minus the Power 9 and sold it off for what today is just pennies on the dollar of what that stuff's worth today. Sucks, but at the time, like screw this noise, let's go be adults and like go hang out and party and be social and skateboard and do stuff. After quitting the game, I got an apprenticeship to become a tattoo artist, which I've been doing now for almost 11 years. I've been a tattooer here in Spring Hill, Florida. If you're ever down here, come get tattooed by me. That'd be cool. We can talk about magic and stuff. But tattooing involves a lot of hours of work. Fridays, Saturdays, noon to midnight for the last 10 years. It's really hard to make it out to F&Ms or PPTQs or whatever the case. So that was enough to keep me kind of away from Magic for a long, long time. And that coupled with the little bit of intimidation factor of there being so much that happened in the game since I had left kind of was enough to keep me from coming back. But I started dating a lovely young lady named Allison. Great, great person. Wonderful girlfriend. I love her very much. She one day asked me, "Hey, you used to play this card game, right? Would you maybe teach me?" And I was like, "Well, sure. I wouldn't mind. I would kind of have to relearn a bit myself. But I want to warn you, if we go down this road and you open this can of worms, it's not a little hobby. It's not something that I passively do. When I get into it, I get fucking into it. And so if you're prepared for that, sure." She's, "Yeah, whatever. Sure, teach me. We'll do that." So I went and grabbed a couple of Khans of Tarkir intro decks, and I started kind of reassociating myself with the game, relearning some stuff, teaching her some stuff. I had to ask some friends that still play the game about some rules and stuff, and rule changes, which to me is like the biggest thing about coming back to the game that was weirdest is like damage on the stack being gone, mana burn being gone. Like, it's still kind of weird to me, but I've been playing again about as long as I was playing before, or a little bit less than I was playing before I quit, so I'm used to it. But since then, I've been back at the game. I played for the first like year or so primarily. I played a lot of standard, then got into modern, and then naturally fell back into moving backwards in formats to the older cards that I was more familiar with, that I enjoyed playing back in the day, because who doesn't love nostalgia, right? Um, that's that's kind of where I'm at today. I decided to make a YouTube channel primarily because I enjoy the stuff I enjoy, and when I'm really into something, I enjoy talking about and writing about and conversing about the stuff that I enjoy about as much as I like the stuff that I enjoy. I just said stuff that I enjoy like 32 times in the last 30 seconds. Awesome. But yeah, I am really into comic books. So for a while I wrote for two separate comic book websites, uh, columns and opinion and review stuff. I also used to write about music and about bands and used to interview bands when I was a teenager and shit. I wrote very briefly since I've been back in the game for a website called Bit Trauma about Magic. It didn't last too long because I kind of got busy at work and stuff. But YouTube's something I could do on my own time. I've always liked watching Magic YouTube stuff since I've been back in the game. People like Tylerian Community College, Magic Man Sam and stuff make insanely high quality content about like product reviews and like magic art and the story and stuff. I like watching the pros stream games and stuff. I like watching people like Alpha Investments talk about the finance and stuff. I'm not a finance dude. Like, I think cards are worth money and that's sweet and that's what keeps the game going, but I wouldn't care if they didn't cost money or weren't worth money per se. Like, I have learned my lesson. I'll never sell my collection again. But I thought I'd do the YouTube thing to kind of be able to speak my voice about the stuff that I'm into with the game and worry more about that than the quality of the filming of the videos that I'm putting out or the editing and all that sort of stuff. I'm not a filmmaker, I'm not an editor, and I'm sure I'll kind of get better at those sorts of things as I go. But for now, I just like the fact that I can have a voice, put it in the world. I have a handful of friends that have been real cool that have watched my videos and like been real nice to comment and stuff on them. Um, Other than that, I play Magic like realistically once every few weeks at some local tournaments on Wednesdays and Thursdays, which I'm off. I try to play as much Legacy as possible and Modern, more so when I can. And I play online on some bootleg stuff, and I play on actual Magic Online when cubes go up, because cube is sweet. But I thought I'd introduce myself. My name is James. If anybody has any questions about what I'm doing or anything that they would like to see on my channel, by all means, feedback, comment on everything you can on this video and every other one, because that stuff's real helpful, and I like conversing, like I said, about Magic with friends who play Magic. So that's all. I don't know how weird it is that I'm in a chair with nothing behind me. There's like interesting stuff, like over there is a collection of Spider-Man key issues and stuff, which is sweet. But other than that, that's my introduction to the channel. Welcome, Mtg Biggie. Look for more videos about stuff that I'm into with Magic, which you'll soon figure out what that stuff is. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Bye.